Sorry.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Second try. Thanks for being patient. I hope you enjoy also the break. And yeah, I will talk about our project. Yeah, the Pareto project, an open source publishing ecosystem for censorship-resistant journalism built on Nostr. I think everyone in this room, or almost everyone probably, is aware of the problem of these days. We are in the middle of information warfare, where censorship is spreading out, and we are even in the so-called Western democracies, we are seeing better. We've been seeing. Oh yes, no. We've been seeing yeah, an increase of yeah, censorship and issues when voices try to express or critique some politicians or whatever, and creators and journalists nowadays are captured in giant in the tech silos of giants of big platforms, centralized platforms, and we've seen in the last couple of years a movement that many small publications and platform arise and are bringing alternative news information, but yet you can also observe that those platforms are making a mistake. They are using the same centralized technologies and also the same classical fiat payment methods. And this is something that is not robust. It is fragile, and Nostr and Bitcoin and all this decentralized technology can bring a real solution for this problem, a solution which is reliable, robust, and that can help to solve these issues in our societies. The Pareto project is a project based in Switzerland. It was founded about 2 years ago by Milos Matuszek, which is a German journalist and book author. And the project, after a period of organization, experimentation, prototyping, launched about a year ago his client, his Nostr client, which is, technically speaking, a long-form Nostr client, but it's more than that. I will talk about this. And yeah, it is, Pareto is trying to build an ecosystem for grassroots journalism and building tools based on those decentralized technology to support publisher and journalists, content creators, and so on. The project has been founded till now on the base of donations, and also through the spirit or the commitment of the team working behind. And but nowadays it is also a Swiss cooperative in creation still. We are in the process Bureaucratic processes are not very fast everywhere in the world. But we are on this road, and this Pareto Association, part of the members of the association are also authors writing using Pareto. And yeah, this is kind of a very good concept, we think. And the team is also looking or working currently, developing also their own business model to make the project more sustainable for the future. Basically, at the moment we are focusing in the service for newsletters, email newsletters, coupled with Pareto, with the Nostra client. And this newsletter service is very special because it is a very private service. Email from readers, from users, is a very valuable information. This is very precious and must be protected. And we take this very seriously. And Pareto encrypted all those also data from the users. And even this encryption is done with the keys of the authors himself, and not even we, the Pareto team, has access to this data from the users. I think it is very secure and private schema. Yeah. This technical introduction we had was because I wanted to do a demo, short demo of the application to show you how the application looks like live. But I think it is not very important for my presentation. If you are interested, you can come later during the day to me, and I can show you the application and ask your question or whatever. This is the main the landing page of the Pareto client. This Nostra client. It is a web browser application, which is also available for mobile browsers. The application displays nicely also on small devices, and is quite usable there. And besides those goals I have already mentioned from the project, another very important goal of the project was to make easy for users to use Nostra, and indirectly also Bitcoin. Because as we know, and we heard today about this from the practice, it is a barrier for many people to access these technologies, these free making technologies. And this was from the very beginning an important goal of the project. And for that, we have developed many solutions and tools. And it is very important to mention that the Pareto project, the team has been running an onboarding campaign for authors for about a year. In this campaign, we have onboarded on Nostra about 75 authors, which they can use. We help them to configure the Nostra profile with all the things belonging to this, including lightning address from Pareto to receive Satoshi sets over Nostra and Lightning, Nostra address, and also access to our infrastructure. Our team, we are running relays, we are running media and Blossom servers, which are needed in Nostra if a user want to upload some images or videos, some media data. And we support the authors for this. And these authors are very active, most of them, and they are publishing continuously, through Pareto in the Nostar ecosystem. I can invite you to go to a website. I will show later the URL, and make your own impression. And you will see a lot of articles published, not only in German, because Pareto is a project originated in the German space, but we have also many authors writing in English. And in the last couple of weeks, we also had one article written in Polish. And the client supports also different language. You can use the client in Spanish, or Italian, French, Swedish. There is many a wide language support also for the articles. And this is a very special thing about Pareto. And this is not the only thing. We have also experienced that some authors, because they are very spare time, they are very busy somehow. They don't have the time to learn Nostra, even with our help. And for that, the project has also another publication, which is a kind of flagship publication of the project, the so-called Friedenstaube, Peace Dorsch in English, which is a publication focusing on the topic war, peace, and so on. And this publication is, as Pareto, also a Swiss association in founding currently, with also many members funding the project. And this publication brings about 20 articles every week. For authors, the support for authors does not end at this place. There is also other possibilities, which are tools built by the team for publishing from Telegram channels or from RSS feeds. It's also possible if a publication or a journalist has an RSS feed in his web page, it can be, with our help, be automatically published on Nostra. And similarly, it works also for Telegram channels that can be made accessible for a wider audience now in Nostra. And in this way, we are also bringing maybe more users to Nostra. This is a whole package of tools and engagement of the team to onboard authors. And similar is also applicable for normal users. For normal users, it's very easy to use the client or to read the content, because as I said, it is only an internet browser is needed, but even you can also get the content from Pareto through emails. Users, we offer, as I said, this newsletter service, and in the newsletter service, a user can subscribe to a certain author, and he will get then every article published by this author through an email, which is a very nice decentralized protocol, also very widespread. And for users, there is also other possibilities. Users who use RSS feed readers can also reach the content from Pareto and the Friedenstaube with any RSS feed reader, because our team is also publishing, I think we have two feeds, one for German articles and one for English articles. This is, kind of a lot of things that the team is doing and pursuing to this call. And of course, the Pareto client has also the normal features in the Nostra publishing platform for long form. The common possibilities to interact with the content, with the author. The user can, if he has an account on Nostra, of course, he can write comments, he can like, he can also SAP, which are micro payments, Bitcoin payments over the Lightning framework network. Very fast payments for amounts, normally small amounts. And all this functionality, which is kind of standard on Nostra, is available. And for author, there is also support, tool support for their work as writers. They have integrated a rich Markdown editor in the client where they can structure their articles, include images and so on. And there are also tools to manage the subscriptions from their articles and to manage media files that they can use in their article and so on. There is a whole package of tools that we are providing for authors. I think there is pretty much a good overview of the Pareto project, what we are doing, what we are offering. And as I said, I wanted to show how it looks in practice. But yeah, I think I hope you get a good idea of what we are doing. And we are also planning more new features and things for the future. And as I mentioned, we have this newsletter service, and we are currently re-implementing the service for more scalability. We want to be able to serve large publications also. And the marketplace idea is a very important idea in our project from the very beginning. This is something very powerful, we think. Imagine a marketplace where content creators, journalists, investigators, translators, whatever, they can participate permissionless and pay each other using Bitcoin payments. I think this is a very powerful idea for this space, and it is something that we would like to work in the future. Of course, it depends everything on the available resources for the project, but this is something that we are very interested to build. And we are also looking out for new technologies in the decentralized world, like MLS, mentioned by Jeff in the talk before me, and also eCash, especially Cashew eCash. Why these two technologies? Because both technologies are very private technologies. And this is, I think, essential for a marketplace of free journalism. And of course, we have a ton of work to do. Yeah, and yeah, if you have questions, just reach us. We are there. And yeah, if you are planning to make a publication or something on Nostra, contact us. You can find us, for example, on the team at Pareto Space. And this is the webpage of the project, and where you can also find the client. And that's all. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Before I introduce the next person, important, because you hear that the acoustics here are amazingly well, so we can hear all the way in the back. But that also means when you're standing in front of the door in the back, we will hear this, and then it's like it's bad for the people standing there because then you're listening in. So if you do want to talk to each other in between, go further to the back or go out here, because then people don't hear it. Very important. And with that, we have a talk on Agora, the Nostra client for activists by Pablo Fernandez and Jesus Gonzalez. Applause for you. And when you're staying for the networking hours afterwards, I can also see here there's an Agora onboarding. So please also stay for that. And then I'm going to give you the other mic too. Hello.
You have that? Me? Yeah. Yep. So first of all, do you hear me? Yeah. Thank you very much for all of you, for your patience so far, for your time, and for your commitment. Commitment with the cause of freedom of every single being human of the world. My name is Jesus Gonzalez. I am an activist from Venezuela, and I am also a content creator, and I am also a member of Voluntad Popular. And I am here with Pablo, who is from Argentina and is a brilliant developer that has been working so hard the last month to bring activists, pro-democracy, pro-human rights, tools for freedom, tools to communicate, tools to be secure, unblockable, untraceable, and here we are. So we have a very first question because Pablo is from Argentina, I am from Venezuela, and we were talking with some of you. Can you raise the hand, please, just 1 second, the people that speaks English? Okay. Y ahora pueden levantar la mano un momento, por favor, los que hablan español. Okay, so we're going to do this presentation in both languages. We're going to be switching them so you can all be integrated with us. So welcome.
Bienvenidos.
Welcoming. Bueno, de lo primero de lo que vamos a hablar, the first thing that we are going to talk with you is about the current cyberactivism does not work. El ciberactivismo, como lo conocemos actualmente, no está funcionando. I am from Venezuela, and in Venezuela, but it's exactly the same in every single country in the world that lives under autocracy. One of the main weapons that the dictatorship used to control, to pursue, and to put people in jail is communication. Yo soy de Venezuela, pero funciona exactamente igual en todos los países del mundo que viven bajo autocracias, donde una de las herramientas principales que utilizan los dictadores para perseguir, censurar y arrestar a los activistas es las comunicaciones. Por eso estamos aquí. Lo primero que hacen es censurar. Pablo, if you want to add something in the middle, you can do it.
Yeah, so
This is like interactive.
yeah. So I went to the Oslo Freedom Forum, I think 2 years ago, and one of the things that struck me the most is one of the speakers was discussing how their movement in India was gaining traction with some stuff that was going on locally, and this was after Elon bought Twitter and turned it into X, the freedom of speech platform where everybody was going to be able to have a voice and whatnot. Yeah. And Elon has interest because he's a person. He has interest in India, and their reach within Twitter was greatly diminished. They didn't censor them; they just stopped a little bit their reach. So this is super important. Like, to me, that was one moment when I realized just how important it is at the grassroots levels. These centralized platforms, the power that they have is absolutely immense. And you can start a service like Twitter or like X, like Rumble or any of these things with the promise of freedom of speech. But if you can censor, if you can shadow ban, if you can tip the scales in one direction or another, you will be forced to. Maybe you don't want to. Rumble was censored in Brazil, for example. A freedom of speech platform censored just from a court order. So it's out of your, if there are technical means by which you can censor, you will end up censoring.
Pablo estuvo contando sobre la experiencia en la India. Y básicamente la conclusión es que si tú creas una plataforma, una red social que puede ser censurada a través de una persona que es el dueño de la empresa, pues eventualmente va a ser censurada. Puede que no sea hoy, puede que no sea mañana, pero eventualmente va a ser censurada. Entonces lo que nosotros estamos intentando crear es opciones que no dependan de una empresa, que no dependan de una persona, es decir, que sean descentralizadas. In the case of Venezuela, for example, talking about censorship, in the last 15 years, the Maduro's regime has been closing media. We have more than 500 radios closes. Then they went for the websites and they blocked thousands of websites. Right now, while we are talking with you, we have more than 10,000 websites blocked in Venezuela. Mientras estoy acá hablando con ustedes, hay más de 10,000 sitios web bloqueados en Venezuela y el régimen de Maduro además ya ha cerrado más de 500 medios de comunicación desde que llegó al poder. After that, they went through the content creator and they paid them to have like this big campaign about everything in Venezuela, it's fine. Después de eso ellos fueron por creadores de contenido y empezaron a pagarles para que hicieran campañas que decían básicamente que, de hecho, tenían un eslogan que era Venezuela se arregló. Venezuela se arregló, which means, in English, Venezuela is fixed. Everything is going well in Venezuela. We do not have problems. Come here to Venezuela. And after that, right now, they are going into social media. They are going for it. They block Twitter in Venezuela. In Venezuela, Twitter is blocked. They goes for Meta. What they do is that they criminalize Meta. If you put something in your WhatsApp, if you put something in your Instagram, if you put something in your Facebook, so they are going to persecute you and put you on jail. So in this situation, we were talking with Leopoldo and other leaderships around the world about, oh man, those rats cannot take our countries away from us, take our voices, censorship. We need to continue spreading the message of freedom. We need to continue fighting for freedom with the truth. So we need to do something. And then Noster came up. Te veo lento, Pablo. Tenemos que meterle aquí emoción. Vamos a meterle esto. Okay, I'm going to go slow. And you're going to go. Okay, let's go.
Yeah, Noster provides a very interesting solution to this problem, and in a very simple way. It provides a way to basically go around the cracks of any type of censorship that might happen. So, for example, if someone on Twitter is censored, you say, for example, wants to censor one particular account on Twitter or Rumble or whatever, they can just go and say, hey, this account, take it down. And that account is gone. Forever gone. Like, you cannot see it anymore. It's just removed, like the Soviets used to do. With Noster, because we have a cryptographic identities, we have a way for, you could say that all the relays on Noster decide, all get together in some cabal, and they decide to block this pub key. That pub key, that cryptographic identity, can get through the cracks. And if I want to follow that person that is being censored by everybody, this person can host their own content in their own relay. And within any Noster client, I would not even be able to know that the relays are trying to block me from accessing this person. It would just work. I would not be able to notice anything, which is a stark contrast from any other type of protocol or any other type of platform.
Yeah, so other thing that the dictatorships do in every country is that they create their own social media and their own apps to, pursue people. In Venezuela, for example, they create one app that is called VenApp, and they force all the population to be on that app because that app is linked to our ID and it's also linked to all the social programs. So Venezuela, because of the dictatorship, 95% of the population lives in poverty condition. So they need the social insurance, it needs the social health care, etc. So they force the population to be on that app. After our victory last year in the presidential election that the regime stole from us, they goes to put this VenApp like an app to spy your neighborhood. So they add a function inside the app where the members of the political party of the dictatorships can spy their neighborhoods, put their names, their IDs, and tell these people are against us, against the revolution, against communism or whatever. And then the army forces or the public forces from the dictatorships goes to those people and arrest them. Since we won the election, we had more than 2,000 political prisoners, and since Maduro arrives to power, we have more than 20,000 persons arrested. A lot of them are journalists that if they're in Venezuela, they cannot speak freely. El régimen de Maduro tiene actualmente una aplicación que le permite a las personas afiliadas a su organización política espiar a los vecinos que tienen, colocarlos en esa aplicación y luego hacer que los cuerpos de seguridad del Estado vayan detrás de estas personas para arrestarlos. La persecución se ha incrementado a partir de la victoria de las elecciones pasadas presidenciales que ellos se robaron. Después de ese momento tenemos más de 2.000 presos políticos, pero esto no es nuevo. Desde que Maduro llegó al poder hemos tenido más de 20.000 presos políticos, muchos de los cuales todavía a día de hoy siguen presos y muchos de los cuales son periodistas o comunicadores sociales, creadores de contenido, que están presos únicamente por denunciar lo que está pasando. Ni siquiera por emitir opiniones, por decir la verdad. Y en todo esto llega Nostr, que es lo que está explicando Pablo. Pablo, cuéntanos un poco qué es Nostr.
Bueno, Nostr es, voy a hablar en español, no me olvido. Nostr, bueno, lo que nos permite Nostr es tener una identidad criptográfica y hablar, simplemente. Y lo que hace es, cada cosa, cada acción que estás haciendo en Nostr, que seguís a una persona, que publicas un post, que te gusta un post, que respondes a un post, cada una de tus acciones tiene una firma. Es como si fuese un cheque al que firmás y se lo das. Entonces, ¿de dónde viene ese papelito que dice a Jesús le gustó esto o Jesús escribió esto? No importa, porque la firma tiene una garantía criptográfica que viene de la firma que está en el papel, que solamente Jesús podría haber generado. Eso lo que nos permite es, de dónde venga la información es irrelevante. Y como la información se esparce, naturalmente la información se va moviendo de un lugar para otro constantemente, el hecho de que la garantía, el sello de esta información es real, es legítima, lo convierte en un paradigma muy poderoso. What I should say is that the premise of Nostr is that the guaranteed stamp of certainty of Jesus said this thing or this other person said this thing is embedded in the data, and data just spreads. Information yearns to be free. The information just moves around. It's very, very hard to stop. But the fact that the signature of the data, the signature that says Jesus said this thing is in the data, matched with the fact that data yearns to be free and just moves around naturally, makes where the data came from completely irrelevant. So, for example, you could send messages through the relays. You can find a piece of data that is signed, and you know that it's been signed by this person. It's exactly the same way that Bitcoin works.
And how works your digital identity in Nostr, Paula? ¿Cómo funciona tu identidad digital en Nostr? What makes it different from WhatsApp, Twitter, TikTok?
The massive difference is that, as my friend Shishi would say, you can create your digital identity by rolling a coin, by rolling a dice or flipping a coin, mixing metaphors here. You own your digital identity because it's like this big number that is not given to you. You just find it, and you don't need to register anywhere. It's just a number that you choose. Well, you don't choose it. You find it in some way, which means that there is no one central registry. You don't have to go and register, create an account with WhatsApp or with Twitter and because of that, no one owns the number. It makes no sense, no logical sense. No one owns the number. So this identity you carry with you, and you can use it for whatever you want. And you can have multiple identities, which, back to what you were saying before, introduces a very interesting primitive that allows us to, for example, say I'm in Venezuela or I'm in Argentina and I want to say something against Maduro, or I have something to report, but I know that if I report it with my name, I might find myself in trouble. So one of the things that we can do via Nostr, and is one of the things that we're building within Agora, which we're going to talk about in a bit, is the fact that I could publish this piece of information with like an anonymous account. But now, how do we make sure that I'm not posting a bunch of fake information from an anonymous account? The reason why Jesus here is not going to say completely made up things is because he has a reputation. He doesn't want to say things that are not true because he has a reputation to. So how do we marry these two concepts? And within Nostr we can do that. We can have a point where Jesus could have 10 different pub keys, 10 different identities, pseudonymous identities with different names, publishing different type of information on different topics. And he could find people that he trusts, people with weight, like in the social graph. So, and say, for example, out of band in a way that only he and his counterparts, say, for example, with Leopoldo. Hey, Leopoldo, I'm going to be publishing this information from this pub key in a completely secret way, in a way that no one can know other than Jesus and Leopoldo that this is going to be happening. So Leopoldo could sign an event saying, this other pub key, it's anonymous, but it's legit. You don't need to know who it is, how that happened. You just need to know that Leopoldo said this.
Trust transfer.
You got exactly trust transfer, but you cannot know that it's Jesus.
Yeah.
And now from that pub key, you can do citizens journalism, where you're publishing stuff that you don't want associated with your name, but you want to transfer the authority of certain pieces of the social graph. And that other pub key can make money, because money in Nostr is just data. So within Agora, we have like built-in wallets that are completely KYC free, completely anonymous. The money is stored, logically speaking, they're just stored in the pub key. So now this anonymous account can have a transfer of reputation from Leopoldo, from other people trusted within the community. You don't need to know who they are, but you can send them money.
So, es mucho que recordar. Voy a intentar repasar todos los temas. Pablo empezó conversando sobre el tema de la identidad y cómo la identidad digital funciona de manera distinta en Nostr. Cuando hablamos de identidad digital en Nostr, a diferencia de las otras redes sociales, esta no está vinculada a nada de tu identidad en el mundo físico. Esto no está vinculado a tu cédula de identidad, pasaporte, correo electrónico, número de teléfono, residencia, lugar donde vives, recibo de luz, absolutamente a nada. Y además te permite crear tantas identidades como tú consideres. Puedes tener una identidad, puedes tener 10 o las que sean, lo cual hace que no solamente tu identidad, sino tus datos sean tuyos, cosa que es muy poderosa en las redes sociales, pero también es muy poderosa de cara al mundo real. ¿Por qué? Porque las dictaduras siempre andan buscando dañar a las personas a través de la identidad. Lo segundo que estuvo conversando Pablo tiene que ver con el tema de la transferencia de confianza. Ok, si tienes una plataforma que es anónima, ¿cómo tú haces para saber en quién confiar y en quién no confiar cuando se publica la información? Entonces, Pablo lo que está diciendo es que una manera de mantener a la gente segura es que, por ejemplo, y voy a usar el mismo ejemplo que él utilizó, yo tengo alguna cuenta secundaria que no tiene mi nombre, no tiene mi apellido, no tiene nada, pero yo tengo una información que necesito hacer pública, no la puedo hacer con mi nombre y apellido porque me coloca en riesgo a mí y a mi familia, pero tengo otro espacio que puedo utilizar. Yo hago esa información pública y luego converso con gente que me conoce a mí en el mundo real y que tiene mucha reputación en el mundo digital y les pido que hagan referencia a esa publicación en el sentido de, por ejemplo, Leopoldo diga, esta publicación que acaba de hacer esta cuenta con el nombre que sea, la cuenta no dice Jesús González, dice cualquier nombre, esta publicación es anónima, pero es legítima, porque yo confío en la fuente que está dando esta información. Entonces así funciona la transferencia de confianza en Nostr y así funciona también, que lo voy a empezar a decir y tú lo complementas, cómo hacemos para que Nostr salga, es decir, cómo hacemos para que este protocolo salga del mundo bitcoiner a el mundo real. Es decir, cómo hacemos para que la mayor cantidad de personas posibles utilicen esto para que puedan comunicar de manera segura. Y la respuesta es que esto es tan sencillo como si fuese una red social tradicional, porque ustedes cuando publican algo en Nostr desde una identidad anónima, ustedes pueden también copiar ese link y enviarlo después, distribuirlo después por las redes sociales tradicionales, incluido WhatsApp. Es decir, puedes tener una noticia real que tiene credibilidad, que se publique de manera anónima en Nostr y puedes luego difundirla por WhatsApp, por Twitter, por Facebook, por la red social que tú quieras y la gente va a poder ingresar a Nostr y leer la noticia. ¿Por qué hacerlo de esta manera y no hacerlo directamente en las redes sociales tradicionales? Porque de esta manera no estamos expuestos a la censura y no estamos expuestos a la desprotección que existe hoy en día con nuestra identidad. So, what I was saying, the last part, the first part was the translation of Pablo. The last part is that how can we go from Nostr to the real world through the traditional social media to put Nostr at the service of not Bitcoiner people, is that we can create anonymous publications in Nostr, and after that we can copy those links and share it, spread it for all other the social media. So we have first of all, anonymous identity, second, information, third, trust, and after that we can take that post and put it on the real world, all for the sake of the activists that are working in a context that they can go jail or they can get murdered if we don't do it in the right way.
Yeah, so one of the things when Leopoldo opened the day, he mentioned the idea of not building tools for the sake of the tools. The tools are not a means to they're not the end on itself. They're a means to an end, and that's been the way I've approached Nostr from the get-go. Because I think it gives very interesting primitives, but they are interesting because they serve towards some goal that affects humans. That is the end goal, is bringing something that was not possible before. It's super cool technically. 1% of people will be interested in why it's cool technically and all that stuff. Why is it cool to me? Why is it cool to my neighbors, to my family, to my community? So the way I've approached Aura from the get-go is what would a client, an application that people can use that would be immediately recognizable, like the flow, it all makes sense. But what can it give you that other traditional applications cannot give you? And that other nosters are not building towards that. So at the very center of Agora is the idea that we're working within communities. We're working within the Agora of Venezuela. At some point, we might have smaller groups. But we're starting from the point of a community. We're starting from the point of a high density network of people. You invite your family, you invite your neighbors, and the fact that they are there, which is exactly how Twitter got started, exactly how Facebook got started. They just got big, but they were highly concentrated in Harvard, highly concentrated in San Francisco, and that's how they spread from there. The vast majority of the Nostr clients and Nostr applications that we've had thus far, they're focusing on just a general broad of discussion. It just happened. It took off within Bitcoiners. So instead of being a geographical location, it got rooted in Bitcoin, which is great in many ways because it anchored the ethos of no compromises, of no, it's like Web3, or it's anchored on deeply rooted values, which is phenomenal. But there are many other communities and cohorts of people where it can greatly benefit. So the idea is, if you invite your community, what can you give in terms of features that is immediately interesting? So, for example, local commerce. It's immediately interesting. Being able to be on Twitter, and this is actually something that Facebook ended up developing and that WhatsApp ended up developing because it makes total sense. Yeah. If I can buy a used car or used bicycle or whatever it might be from a person that I know, a person that I trust, or a person that is friends with someone that I trust, that is immediately useful, immediately. Whereas if I go to a client and I see, oh, there's this person I'm in Argentina and this person in Vietnam is selling a bike. Okay, great. That's not very relevant to me. So everything within Agora starts from you are part of this one local community that immediately makes sense to you. All the information, all the discussions are going to be anchored around the place that you've been invited to. And in the same way, we want to be able to. We use a lot of Bitcoin because it's such a perfect conduit for value transfer. So I invite you to this Twitter or this Medium-like experience, and I can send and receive money. So I can publish a piece of street journalism, and I can immediately get money. But one of the issues that you mentioned,
get money and send money in a decentralized, anonymous, and secure way.
Exactly.
Which I mean, it's like the most powerful thing that we have here.
Exactly. But one of the issues that we always have with Bitcoin wallets and Cashew wallets and whatever it might be is that, okay, I have this Bitcoin. Now what? What do I do with this? So if we have immediately a marketplace available, now you can go and buy something. But you also have, and this is something that was created by a Venezuelan, by Francisco Calderon. It's a protocol where you can find people that want to sell Bitcoin or buy Bitcoin. And you can see the trades. You can see that someone in your neighborhood wants to buy or sell Bitcoin. So maybe you write something, someone sends you $5, and you say, okay, these $5 are in Bitcoin. I need to go and buy something at the market. Well, you can publish publish that you want to sell those $5, and now Jesus or someone within the community says, oh, I see, oh yeah, I want to buy, I wouldn't buy mine by $5. And you just meet with the person. And the fact that it's anchored within the community is so powerful because when you have trust in the community, trust is super, super important. When you have trust within a community, you can do away with all the protections that when you don't trust the person that you're trading with, that you need. So if I need to buy something, for example, my friend Jeff, yesterday I called him. Oh, you're in Berlin. My wife needs an iPhone. Can you go and buy it? I don't need to get around this very complex scheme of, okay, I'm going to send you these. And no, he just went and bought it. And at some point, maybe we'll see. Oh, I'll give you the money, probably.
Maybe.
I mean,
Pablo, esta parte que estás diciendo es muy, muy, muy importante, justamente por lo que estamos haciendo tú y yo. Esta presentación la estamos haciendo en inglés y en español, porque muchas de las personas que están acá el día de hoy hablan español, y Pablo ha estado comentando cuál es la potencialidad del cliente, de la aplicación que él está desarrollando desde el World Liberty Congress, que se llama Agora. Y uno de los puntos fuertes más importantes de Agora es que está anclado a la comunidad de la cual fuiste invitado. Y esto implica información relacionada a ti en un idioma que es el tuyo. ¿Por qué esto es tan importante? Porque si nosotros, por ejemplo, queremos utilizar Nostr para empezar a contar lo que está pasando en Nicaragua, cuando una persona de Nicaragua entra a Nostr, lo primero que ve, si entra desde algún cliente de los que ya existen en el mercado, es un montón de gente hablando de un tema que les parece lejano, que es Bitcoin, pero además en un sentido muy técnico, a nivel de código, muy profesional. Y en segundo lugar, hablándolo en un idioma que no es el de ellos. Entonces, esto lo soluciona Agora, porque ustedes van a entrar en la conversación en una comunidad que habla sobre ustedes y sus intereses, pero además lo habla en su idioma. Y esto es una de las cosas más potentes de esto, que va ligado al protocolo de Bitcoin y que les va a permitir enviar y recibir dinero en Bitcoin, lo que lo hace una extraordinaria fuente para enviar y recibir dinero de manera segura, anónima y descentralizada, pero también a gastar dinero en Bitcoin, en comercios locales, transacciones, mercados P2P. Hay muchísima gente trabajando en este tipo de mercados. Pablo mencionó uno de ellos, puedo mencionar otro. Por ejemplo, la gente de Hodel trabaja también con mercados P2P de manera descentralizada sin Know Your Client. Entonces, esto también es bien importante porque puedes intercambiar Bitcoin por moneda local sin necesidad de dar tus datos. And why this is so important in our context? Because you can communicate things, your activities in a private and secure way, an anonymous way, but also you can get funds for your activities. So you can receive funds for doing activism, pro-democracy activism, pro-human rights activism. We can raise money for political prisoners' families, for example. You can have like family showing the history of your political prisoner, and after that receiving Bitcoin to help them. So this is a very, very, very powerful idea that is behind all of this. And Pablo is working 24/7, helping us to do this every day. So thank you, Pablo.
thank you.
We'll continue.
Okay.
We are running out of time, but we need a double of time because we are doing it in English and Spanish. No. Final remarks, Pablo.
So one of the things that I always think is that defeating or replacing somewhere with a lot of network effects is incredibly hard. I think the reason we kind of see that Nostr growth has slowed down a little bit is because it is a very, very deep challenge. When you approach it, this might tease a little bit. When you approach it from the perspective of let's give a ton of value concentrated in this one community and make it incredibly useful or relevant for this one community, you don't have to go and solve all the problems for all the people. Just solve this one local problem. And the problems, I mean, for me coming from Argentina, I know that the kind of stuff that would have been incredibly useful for me when I was running a business in Argentina and facing insane challenges. That when I tell these challenges to Western, to Americans or Europeans, they're like, I used to smuggle iPhones to pay salaries for the people working in my company because Bitcoin didn't exist. Well, at least I didn't know about it. And there are tools that would be immediately useful to solve real problems that now we can bring. It's just we need to package them in a way that they're relevant to people. There is not, this is so technically cool. Why is it cool for me?
So World Liberty Congress is created to help people to be free and to fight for freedom. So World Liberty Congress, it's working with tech people. So you have here a lot of tech people, but also a lot of activists from all around the world, because we need to connect tech with causes. And we truly and deeply believe that there is nothing more important than freedom. Why is Agora? Because Agora, it's going to help us to fight for freedom and to fight for democracy. We will be, for the ones that are not techie people, we will be outside after the launch, onboarding people in Agora, teaching you how to use Nostr, and also giving you some satoshis, some money that you can spend after in the cocktail hour to buy things. So you will be onboarding on Agora, you will be receiving Bitcoin, and you will be able to spend those Bitcoin. Para los que no son parte del mundo tecnológico y no están metidos todavía en Nostr, nosotros en la hora del almuerzo vamos a estar todos afuera ayudándolos a meterse en Agora, descargarse la aplicación, utilizarla, pero también les vamos a transferir algunos Bitcoin para que puedan comprar cosas del mundo real y vean cuál es la potencialidad y la funcionalidad de todo esto. Así que bueno, muchísimas gracias al World Liberty Congress, a Leopoldo que nos invitó a organizar esta actividad, a Ana que lo organizó, a Pablo que está desarrollando la actividad y sobre todo a todos ustedes que están acá el día de hoy. Thank you very much, WLC, Leopoldo, who is the leader of this process, Ana, who ran all these activities, and of course, Pablo for the developing of the app, and every single one of you, man. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Gracias. Chéveres. Y muchas gracias. Muchas gracias para hacerlo más inclusivo. But I'm going to switch back to English. Thank you so much, Chéveres. I just learned is amazing in Venezuela. We are moving on here. Don't forget the onboarding later. There's a reminder of, again, many of us are wearing these red things. The privacy is important. Thank you so much. The privacy is important. So please remember this. If you forgot about it at one point, please delete it. Like we saw it, like when somebody forgets and then we tell them and they delete it. Please do not forget. This is your reminder. Nobody should be in the picture or the video who is wearing red. Now we're coming from decentralized communication to decentralized money, i.e. Bitcoin. And for that, and seeing again how important privacy is, colors in the room and introduce... Wait?
Video.
First we have a video. Let's start with a block of Bitcoin, and there's a video as an introduction, and then I see you later.
Bitcoin has become a lifeline for those operating outside systems of control. It allows individuals and organizations to receive and move funds freely. Bitcoin isn't a speculation, it's survival. It enables activists and communities to remain financially independent and to keep building a more decentralized society.
Yo. Test.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Are we good?
Yeah. We good.
Okay. So, hi everyone. Good morning. Good day. I hope you're having a wonderful day. I am. I want to quickly introduce myself. Let me check the time. I don't have a timer. Is there? Okay, like someone just tell me when there's like maybe 15 minutes. All right, so I'll quickly introduce myself. My name is Kale. My boss is Bitcoin. I work on Bitcoin. And I come from the internet. And my contributions in Bitcoin focus on Lightning and eCash, Cashew if you heard of that today. That is the project that I spend most of my time on. And I also work on BitChat. So if you heard of BitChat, decentralized communication, that is also what I put most of my time on. But today I am not going to talk about my projects. I want to talk about a concept. And that is a concept that is very dear to my heart. And I think also to many people here. And that's the idea of financial privacy. And primarily, I want to focus on the narrative around financial privacy. So I'll give you just a gist of the talk so you can basically project where this talk is going. I will talk about messaging privacy, communication privacy, that has been a battle for many years. We've heard a talk about white noise today and MLS encryption on Nostr. And the reason why we can talk about this today so freely is because there has been decades of work to make it a topic that we can talk about freely. And when we talk about financial privacy, most of the work to make it equally accepted by society hasn't been done yet. So that's what I want to talk about today. So how to shift the narrative. Let's start with a story. In 2012, the father of a teenage girl walks into a Target supermarket and is very, very angry. And he wants to talk to the manager. And he wants to complain that his daughter got teenage pregnancy utensils sent to her, advertisement for it, from the Target supermarket. And he wants to know why, and whether Target wants to make his, solicit his daughter to become like pregnant at her early age. And the manager says, like, I'm sorry, I have no idea how this could happen. Very, very sorry. Father goes back home. They sit at the dinner table and they all talk about this incident. And it turns out that his daughter was indeed pregnant without telling her parents, though. She wasn't ready yet to share this information. But her previous shopping patterns that she had at Target revealed that this particular customer with a high probability might be pregnant. That's the algorithm that's figured it out, because she ordered like lotions and other products that are typical for pregnant women. So the algorithm knew before the family. So the Article 12 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights states, no one shall be subjected to arbitrary interference with his privacy, family, home, or correspondence. Privacy is deeply anchored in the most fundamental rights that we have come up with as humans. So why is privacy important? I want to make a quick recap. For centuries, so this is a text-heavy talk, but it's mostly for me. So you can just listen to my voice. I'll just try to narrate this. You don't have to see the screen. For centuries, we have defended our privacy in physical space. We've invented many, many methods to defend our privacy. We have come up with curtains. We have come up with whispers. We have voting booths. We have doors, etc. So this is very natural to us, that we can choose to close ourselves off with the people we want to share information with, and then exclude those we don't want to share information with. And indeed, our democracies, the more modern form of living together today, depend on this principle. And it's very easy to understand, but most people forget it. The reason why democracy works is because your vote is private. If your vote was not private, if you had to share your vote with the government, let's say, then the government could solicit you to make a certain vote. And in many countries, this is under threat when they try to interfere with the elections, for example. So privacy itself is not just a good for itself. It's not like a, philosophical good that we should strive for. It is kind of like a primary right that enables other rights, such as dignity, self-determination, and eventually like democracy, because it builds on the concept of privacy. So there's a terrifying, probably the most brutal example of what can go wrong when there is no privacy, which is from the Second World War, when the Nazis invaded the Netherlands. And the Netherlands were meticulous. They had lists of religious affiliations of all their populace. And they thought for some reason that this would be a good idea. And when the Nazis came, they just got the list and they were able to deport 75% of all Jews in the Netherlands. And if you compare the statistics to other countries where the Nazis invaded, let's say France, that number is around like 30%. So the sheer availability of ready-to-access data made mass murder possible in this case. So it should be clear to anyone that without privacy, today, our societies will only be possible to keep up if we can guarantee also privacy in the digital space, because modern life happens in the digital space. So some people understood this very early on. When the computers came up, the cypherpunks, who are kind of the internet activists from the very early days, they understood that everything is going to be online, everything is going to be digital at some point. So we need to build the tools to defend those privacy rights in the present and in the future. So we say cypherpunks write code. And it's a very common saying, because writing code gives us power. Writing code is like magic in digital space. Writing code is what gives you the most agency as an individual today in the digital world. So there is an era, and we call it the crypto wars. And I say crypto wars 1.0 because there's going to be a 2.0. In the 1970s, the United States of America made the export of encryption algorithms illegal under sanction for weapon export laws. So exporting mathematics in the 70s was treated like exporting ammunition in the United States. And then the Cypherpunk Manifesto. So lots of people didn't like this idea. And the cypherpunks formed and they made a manifesto. And you can see the quote here by Eric Hughes. And the Cypherpunk Manifesto says, defines privacy as the power to selectively reveal yourself to those you want to reveal yourself to. So whether they liked it or not, these developers that just wrote code at home became activists because they did something that the state did not like. Whether you liked it or not, you became an activist, no choice. So the biggest lesson, and you can find the same quote here on this board here, is that we cannot just sit and wait and hope that governments and corporations will grant us privacy. Please don't read my messages. We must take it ourselves. We must build these tools for ourselves, and luckily we can. So this is what the cypherpunks understood. And the crypto wars, now this is a decade-long story, but the crypto wars concluded in 1995, in a sense. So officially, you can find this maybe as a date, in which the US Supreme Court decided in a case Bernstein versus the Department of Justice that code is speech, and because of freedom of speech, there's also freedom of code. So since then, in the United States, you can still, since then you can export your algorithms again, because code is treated as speech. So let's do a quick recap, because it sounds like the war is over. The crypto wars have been won. But mind you, this is an illusion. So let's follow on history. In the 90s, the FBI came up with this idea of the clipper chip. The devices in your pockets, they are encryption machines. These machines make sure that you can write a message to someone without anyone reading it. That's called end-to-end encryption. White noise is one of those implementations. And the FBI didn't like this because they knew that end-to-end encryption is a powerful tool. How will we be able to, prevent crime? So they said, let's put a chip into every device that can the chip can also read your messages. You can do end-to-end encryption in the middle, but I would like to sit on your device and read your messages too. By the way, this is still going on and it's called chat control today. It's not a hardware level today, software level, but it's the same concept. Someone wants to sit there and also read your messages. Imagine writing a letter and there's an agent watching over your shoulder. This is the clipper chip. People didn't like this. 2013, Snowden revealed the unimaginable. Everything what, everyone thought is a conspiracy theory. Snowden was able to show us that indeed the United States government and the NSA and the Five Eyes, all the other countries that participate in the system, watch everything that is going over the internet. I mean everything. You imagine that the internet is very big, but their servers are bigger. They record everything. Everything that goes over the internet is on a hard drive and saved. And then two very big incidents happened, and I think these are pivotal moments. In 2016, Apple and the FBI had this epic lawsuit in which the FBI demanded from Apple to crack the iPhone so they can look into a phone of a terrorist. And Apple said no. Funny thing, side story, FBI said, okay, whatever, we'll do it ourselves. They did. But they just wanted the legal precedent to be established. Apple won that case. And then WhatsApp clicked the button, and WhatsApp turned on end-to-end encryption for over 1 billion people. And in my view, this is still the most significant step for mass privacy in history, is when the WhatsApp founders left WhatsApp and enabled end-to-end encryption. And then look here, 2020, a couple years later, the EU Commission recommends to their politicians, hey, you should use Signal. Maybe end-to-end encryption isn't that bad at all. Maybe we want our communication to be secured. So in this whole history of the fight for privacy, the narrative completely flipped. It started with criminals, and then it ended up with politicians. And so the most important part here, and I think this is why it's important for this crowd, is that activists themselves, basically, they did all the work. Because activists, human rights activists, highlighted that privacy is necessary to protect the most vulnerable people of our societies. So how did we go from here to here? That is the question. How do you get from here to here? That's the narrative flip. So let's talk about money, because I'm a Bitcoiner, so I care about how money works, and I want to fix how money works. We say money is half of every transaction. And I want to argue that money is also speech. Not only that. So money is speech because when you donate to a human rights organization, or you purchase a political book, or you want to back a political movement financially, you express your political views by making a payment. And I'm not just saying that. That's, again, the US Supreme Court agrees with that. They have ruled that spending money is speech. There's a case. Look it up. Money is also identity. So your transactions reveal all those markers about you, your political affiliations, your medical conditions, your religious affiliation, and so on. And it's also a social map because money reveals who you spend your time with. If you go to a restaurant with your friends, if you go to a cinema with your friends, if your credit card appears at the same terminal in succession, it's clear that you two are connected. So you're here today, we're in Berlin. Many of you came from somewhere else. Just think about this question. What does your last 10 transactions reveal about you? That you came here and you probably swiped a card here. And people with you also swiped a card here, maybe. So this is all data that has been created, and it is being used, mostly being used to send advertisement to you, but it can also be used to find out all the other things that I just talked about you. So we Bitcoiners, we really care about money that cannot be controlled. We want money that is owned by no one, and it works the same way for everyone. And dictators, they really like to control money. They want to control money because money, as we just argued, determines so much about you. So one example of this is the protests in Hong Kong 2019, when the Chinese dictatorship really cracked down on the protests by turning off bank accounts. Many people who went into jail in Hong Kong in 2019, who just came out of jail now, they will never be able to have a bank account in their life again because they're on some list somewhere and they cannot use anything anymore except Bitcoin, basically. But we always talk about the Chinese regime here, and we should not forget that also our democratic regimes use the same tools to exercise power on their population. And primarily here, there are these big examples of WikiLeaks in 2010, which is in the beginning of Bitcoin, when WikiLeaks had to switch over to Bitcoin donations in order to continue their operations. And just more recently, the protests in Canada, where anyone who donated to the protests was flagged in a database and people's homes were raided and so on. And like a more recent story was with PayPal, in this craze on the internet when everyone was, talking about fake news and hate speech on the internet. PayPal just proposed, hey, we could just like turn off your account if you say wrong things on the internet, right? Like turn off your money. And the CEO of this found this so crazy that they retracted this proposition shortly after. And I want to mention that CBDCs, which is like the new digital form of money that all governments currently are researching, enable these kind of oppressions on a global level. So this is like currently the systems like Visa, MasterCard, PayPal are the ones that are being used to exercise this power on people. But with CBDCs, governments will have like direct control over these levers. All right, so I'll just quickly skim over the Crypto Wars 2.0 because I said like what's going on today, and this is going on today. In 2022 and just recently, the Tornado Cash privacy encryption, privacy enhancing service providers were put in jail. Just very recently, now 2025, the Samurai devs were actually also indicted. So this happened 1 week ago for building non-custodial services that enhance user privacy. Non-custodial, meaning they never had control over the money, but they were still put in jail. So the message that the political system here sends is very clear. If you write software that increases financial privacy, you're in danger. And it's very surprising, or it's very surprising because when you look at the statistics, and there have been many scientific studies about the use of money for illicit purposes, they all reveal that fiat is the most, infected system that there is. If you want to do crime, most people use fiat. So just looking at the statistics itself, Bitcoin itself is much less penetrated by crime. So Hal Finney, one of the cypherpunks, famously said, the computer can be used as a tool to liberate and to protect people rather than to control them. And so how do we do that? We have to learn from the fight for messaging privacy, for financial privacy itself. So we need to reframe the debate. And we need to reframe it in a context of human rights and democracy. We need to tell stories like my friend Alex Gladstein is one of the biggest contributions to this space, who really set the tone for this debate. And he focuses on stories like, for example, the feminist uprising in Nigeria 2020, where the government shut down bank accounts of political organizations and they had to use Bitcoin in order to continue their operations. Or in Belarus, where the oppressive regime took down the bank accounts of journalists and they also had to use Bitcoin to continue. And we have to personalize the issue. We have to make clear that this affects normal people, their everyday lives. And we need to strengthen the coalitions that we have. This is not just for developers, not anymore. We need to work together with NGOs, with journalists and activists to set the tone and to change how people think about this issue. And finally, we need to all advocate for these tools. And this circle of people here is doing exactly that. We need to advocate tools like Signal, like White Noise, Bitcoin, Cashew, BitChat, and so many other projects that are worth supporting. So I want to end with a last quote by Phil Zimmerman. And he says, if privacy is outlawed, only outlaws will have privacy. And we need to make sure that we don't end up in that state. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much. We are building up a little bit in the technical, so I'm going to introduce to you like what is happening next and what is still happening. Thank you so much. And this was Kalle. You will have known him if you've been to other privacy events. I've seen you before. I mean, the way that I see you. And this was a more theoretical part to Bitcoin and decentralized money or private communication also. And next is Cooks. To put the timer off. Next is Cooks, who is a practical use. He gives us a use case. He shows us how it works. He is known for building a BTC Pay Server, which is a self-hosted open source payment processor. It's also really nice because this is how you can accept donations self-sovereign. And he's also working on ARK, A-R-K. That is a new scalability protocol, like the Lightning protocol, but faster and cheaper. But you will know more about this. I hope I didn't say anything wrongly. Then please correct me. Are you ready? Yeah. Perfectly amazing. I'm going to bring you the mic, or yes, I'm going to bring you a mic. Oh. And then, thank you very much.
Hi, thank you for the intro. I wouldn't say that ARK is a competing thing to Lightning, but I'll get to that. So yeah, my name is Andrew. I go by Cooks online. I've been working on a number of tools in Bitcoin, notably BTC Pay Server and recently Arcade through the company Arc Labs. I'm the CTO of Arc Labs. Today I'll talk about a bit about Bitcoin payments specifically, and how there's a lot of convenience available to you in terms of Bitcoin and the modern fiat system, and why sometimes you just need to choose something different than convenience. So let's talk about the current state of things with fiat. Like, it's very easy to use it in the right places. As you can see in Berlin, I mean, everything just works smoothly. Tap to pay credit cards just work. Everyone has some form of neobank system that allows you to send money to somebody for free and instantly available. Onboarding is super easy. You never have to deal with a failed payment unless you're out of money. So why do we Bitcoin? Everything in Bitcoin has been kind of, like, if you had to take a look at the experience over the past few years, it's been like sometimes the fees goes up. You always have to wait for a block, 10-minute block times. It's hard to find people that accept Bitcoin. The fees can, go from, basically practically free to $100 and overnight or in a matter of minutes. So what are we trying to do? What is the problem actually solved with Bitcoin? And I don't think so. There's no free lunch. There's always something that has to give. With convenience, especially in the fiat world, you always have to give up something, notably control. For example, one thing that to keep in mind is there's always inflation. Nobody talks about inflation as a good thing anymore. Sometimes they used to do that in the past. Now we know that inflation can actually, your savings erode. You can't just leave your money in the bank account and you'll feel safe in 10 years with the amount you had. You have to put your money to work. It's an active thing that you have to keep doing. And with the control, basically you have to provide your KYC, you have to provide your documentation, and by doing that, somebody can always say, "Oh, this person, I don't like him anymore. What's his account? Just freeze it, block it. Your funds get frozen. You can't do any more transfers. You can't receive any money anymore." Sometimes it happens to a specific person. Sometimes it happens to an entire region or to an entire country. So Bitcoin. As you know, like everyone here knows at this point that Bitcoin is neutral and borderless. There's no concept of a geographical problem. Everything just works. If you're in Berlin, if you're in South America, if you're in Africa, it doesn't matter. It's the same system for everyone. It's just code, and that's the basis. Deflationary. You don't actually have to put your money to work anymore. The system is built in a way that allows you to save. It allows you to save money by basically not spending it. Your value goes up because it's deflationary. Something similar to gold, but you can't always increase the rate of production of Bitcoin unlike gold. And self-custody. You can actually hold private keys, basically through code and information. You can actually manage your own money without permission. You don't have to go to somebody and ask them if they can send the money back to you. You can actually just have full control of your entire wealth. In a way, Bitcoin can be very hard to use, at least for people that aren't aware of it, or they come from, using a normal bank account, or a neobank. Bitcoin can feel a bit tricky. So a lot of people kind of get into this situation where, okay, can I use Bitcoin in a more convenient way? What's the way to do this? And basically, you can do it in Bitcoin. You can have a whole spectrum of how to use Bitcoin. One, you can do the whole model very similar to a bank account, where you go to a custodian and they will offer you a very easy on-ramp experience to Bitcoin. You can accept Bitcoin, you can receive Bitcoin, you can send money as if it's a bank account, meaning they will hold the money on your behalf and they will do the transfers on your behalf. But you still have to trust them. You have to trust them to not steal your money. You have to trust them to have your interests at heart. You have to trust them to not decide that you're a bad person and run and freeze your account. On the other hand, you can actually just also have an interoperability layer. You can have your own money, your own Bitcoin, and your own Bitcoin wallet, where none of this matters. None of these bank accounts or Bitcoin bank accounts actually matter to you. But you can actually communicate with people that have these systems, and it just works. And okay, so Bitcoin, as I mentioned as well, is slightly inefficient with doing transfers. And that's where the Lightning Network has kind of popped into play here. Over the past decade, there's been a huge amount of progress of making this work. Essentially, it allows Bitcoin to do instant payments, very low cost, very cheap transactions between people. You can, for example, send people 100 sats, 100 satoshis in a matter of seconds, and it just works. However, there is one big thing with Lightning Network, and that is that being able to integrate Lightning into your business, into your Bitcoin wallet, into your business can be very tricky. We've noticed that most people have ended up in a situation where building a Lightning-enabled application ends up with them becoming a custodian to some degree. And so that's where the convenience factor comes into play. In order to have these fast, instant payments, we've ended up in a situation where we have a custodian involved to do this set of trade-off for you. But if you are a business, you can actually achieve. You can basically hire someone to manage this integration for you, and you can actually make this work for you. So this is where my latest work has come into play. Essentially, we are building Arcade. It's a new protocol. We call it Bitcoin infrastructure, based on the Arc protocol that's been in the research phase for a few years. We launched on public mainnet, public beta mainnet last month. Essentially, what it does is it kind of gives you an alternative to how Lightning works, while still being interoperable with it. Meaning that existing businesses that use Lightning, new businesses that want to use Lightning can actually integrate something simple, and being able to just build it within a matter of weeks instead of years. Another thing on top of this is, instead of having just payments, that's what Lightning does really well, and basically is its main purpose, being able to send and receive Bitcoin really fast as a payment network. Arcade allows you to do even more in terms of programmability, meaning, for example, you're able to have an escrow account between multiple parties, just like you would be able to do on Bitcoin on chain. For example, if you're doing a P2P exchange, peer-to-peer exchange between multiple people, you're able to do this now again off chain with no fees and instant execution. Now, going back to payments. like I said, I've been working on BTC Pay Server for many years now. I think, I don't know, I guess around 8 years. And the product is called a BTC Pay Server. It's essentially an open source, free, self-hosted Bitcoin payment processor available for you to just install on your own machine or on a server somewhere. Relatively simple installation. There's no bank accounts, no accounts at all. You just install it, and it basically is your own system. Supports Lightning and Arcade directly inside it, so it will just work for you. And I can give you a quick demo now as well. So BTC Pay Server is essentially just a payment processor. It allows you to generate invoices, basically saying, hey, I'd like to get paid $10 worth of Bitcoin for this product I'm offering. You create an invoice and it generates a QR code that somebody can send money to. Once the money is sent to it, it detects it and it can basically say that it got settled. The main thing here to keep in mind is that in BTC Pay Server, let me just show you here. That in BTC Pay Server, the money never goes to, for example, to me or to a company somewhere. It goes directly to your wallet. It is basically no intermediaries. Nobody can just jump in and freeze your process, your flow. You can offer your services without having to worry about that. And that's the main selling point here. While doing our best to give you the convenience that you're used to with these centralized payment processors. One thing about BTC Pay Server is it offers you a full suite of tools. It's built with a full-on Bitcoin wallet system, meaning on-chain wallet experience. So if you want to receive Bitcoin on-chain, it fully supports it from the internally. It runs a Bitcoin node. You can run a Lightning node directly on it. You can send and receive money as if it's a normal Bitcoin wallet. Supports hardware wallets for increased security, so that you don't ever have to put any private keys in anywhere that might be too sensitive for use. Allows you to run multiple stores on one instance on one BTC Pay server. Essentially, if you run a BTC Pay server for your community, they are able to just create an account on it and be able to create their own stores with one instance. Meaning, if you have a local city that basically wants to try and experiment with Bitcoin, you can just run an instance for your entire city. Hundreds of people could just create their own stores and start forming a small circular economy. Basically, the UI is kind of like this. You can basically see how much Bitcoin is in your wallet. Obviously, it's hidden on this one. Basically, transactions, recent invoices. Yeah, you can basically have a point of sale app where you can basically just put it on a tablet, and in your store you just select what you're selling at that moment in time with inventory management, and it will generate an invoice that you can just pay and just work. What else is there? Yeah, apart from a point of sale system where you can select items like that, you can just have a very simple one that you can run on your phone at any moment, where you just specify the amount at that moment in time, and it will generate invoices. Another thing that BTC Pay has been known for is its crowdfunding application. It comes pre-built internally inside BTC Pay server, and has been used in a number of activist fundraising events. And what you can do is you generate a crowdfunding application, and you specify the goal, the description, what you want to achieve, different tiers of what people can donate, if they want to sell a product or give you a product in return for donating. It actually works. And you'll have a nice little counter here showing the goal in real time to the end user. This is really, really powerful tool in that you just deploy it on your own. You don't have to worry about being approved about your high risk crowdfunding goal. If you're doing some activist work, you don't have to worry about other people interfering and freezing your funds midway through your campaign, like we've seen in the past. And it just works. Another thing is Lightning is fully integrated in it, meaning you can send on-chain. Lightning works as well, apart from on-chain, and all can be shown in the same interface while somebody is paying, so meaning the user can decide which payment method they'd like to use. So on-chain, Lightning, and also Arcade. With Arcade, it actually generates you Lightning integration straight out of the box and also direct Arc payments inside it. Offering you basically the whole multitude of different payment methods. Also, I know that for example, in South America, it's very popular to use stable coins. BTC Pay Server offers you a way to accept those stable coins because there's no built-in paywalls or opinions in BTC Pay Server. There's a plugin system where anyone can just click a few buttons and be able to select new capabilities available to you. So, for example, here I installed Arc as a plugin. There's a couple of other plugins available, different ways of how to extend it. You can even kind of create your own little tap to pay cards that people can issue and use them as payment methods, kind of like being your own Visa. Various different things that you can install. Essentially, it's an open market that anyone can develop a plugin and ship it to you to use. There's integrations for, let me find it. There are integrations for a number of e-commerce platforms. So, for example, all of these are supported straight out of the box, where you would need to do very minimal amount of work needed to just get started using it. And everything is completely free and open source, MIT licensed, and you can customize everything to however you need it. You can start your own business without having to worry about commercial licenses or revenue sharing. You just do it. One thing I wanted to show you as well is essentially Arcade. Arcade is basically what I've been working on, and I'm very passionate about this. We went live last month, like I said. I'm happy to show you a demo of both BTC Pay Server and Arcade. If you want to try BTC Pay or Arcade, you can go to any of these links here. So thank you. That's it.
Thank you for wrapping up the Bitcoin block.
Thank you. Oh, wait. Now, thank you so much for wrapping up the Bitcoin block. We're moving over now to the artificial intelligence block. Slowly. Because we still have, we don't want to, have another technical problem. So we take our time. And now you need to get your phones out. You need to get your devices out. After the video, you get your phones out and your devices out, and then I tell you more now the video. Oh. Should I say? No. I don't know.
Artificial intelligence is transforming how we communicate, organize, and process information. AI can help activists document abuses, detect misinformation, and protect digital spaces. In the right sense, it strengthens autonomy and uses knowledge, data, and creativity as tools for resistance.
And get your phones. Oh. Hi. So get your phones out, get your laptops out. This is a hands-on session. So, I mean, also we're listening a little bit, but you can also do something and use your hands because he's going to teach you how to build something with decentralized AI. I'm very curious for this. Who is he? That is Justin Moon, who is standing there. He's a technical advisor for the Human Rights Foundation's AI for Individual Rights program. And almost ready. Does it work? All right. So we have 2 talks in the AI format, just to give you a little heads up. We have 2 talks in the AI format, then we have a little fireside chat, and then we will have a very nice networking hour, or hours actually, with an open bar, a buffet, a DJ set. You can do an onboarding with Agora, and there's also going to be a Bitcoin hands-on experience. The way it is written, I would assume is no? The way it is written, I would say it's a surprise. Do we think this could take longer? 1 second. So you have been sitting there. It's also good to move a little bit. So come back into like 5 to 7 minutes and sit down again. If you need to go to the toilet, get some fresh air or some smoky air or a coffee. And I'll see you here in 7 minutes, which is at 50, please. But 0.50, sharp 50.